Welcome to PRSL Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're here for another Monday mini-sode.
That's right. Our Monday minis are where we get a chance to talk about something reselling related. Today we're talking about listing items faster. So we're going to cover this in about 10 minutes or so. So buckle up, tune in, all those cheesy things I could say at the beginning of an episode. Do those things. Like, comment, subscribe. But if you like content where you talk about, you get to hear reselling for a longer period of time, like an hour plus, hour, 15 minutes, sometimes hour and a half we go, check out our Wednesday podcast. So every Wednesday we drop a podcast. It's on YouTube, but it's also anywhere you can listen to podcasts. And you're going to be able to hear longer conversations about reselling. But let's get to this one quickly because we're talking about listing faster. And well, what do we got here, Orlando?
One of the worst things that people do not enjoy about reselling is listing. Not being in front of, like, say, the computer and listing or listing on their phone. It's just the process. You come home, you have all your items, you set them aside, and then if you have things scheduled, you're gonna take care of it, or you may let it sit for a day or a week or so. And so I'm a big fan. What really helped me out, especially when I moved. Now, I will say if you're in a smaller space, it's going to be more difficult. But even when I remember I was in a condo and there wasn't a lot of space. And eventually I made the choice of having a designated space just for listing. And it changed things. Because if you're sitting, let's say, I don't know, it's after dinner, you're eating dinner and you want to list right after that. But you think about what it's going to take. You're going to have to make space somewhere. You're going to have to maybe have a light box and you have to set up your light box, or maybe you have to set up your phone boards, or maybe you have to set up your lights. You have to do some kind of setup. That itself might end up being a barrier for you. You may go, I don't want to do that. You may not list at all. But if you have that designated space, you can right away get those items, get started, get cranking, and you'll definitely list faster if you have a designated space.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Absolutely. The next one is kind of interesting, and I think that everybody needs to kind of play with this a little bit to figure out where their sweet spot is, but you need to work uninterrupted. And one of the things is going along with that idea of having a designated space. Can you be away from for a time period, maybe kids or other distractions? Maybe you can't, though, and maybe that's one of the reasons you do reselling. But there are some interruptions which are going to slow you down. If you are listing and you're using your phone to take pictures, turn off notifications, maybe turn your phone, like they have apps you can use that will kind of silence other things, kind of turn off other notifications, make it your phone go kind of almost like a dumb phone for a little bit and just use it for your eBay listing. Set timers to help you kind of focus for a certain period of time. People talk about flow state and like how long it takes to get into that. Here's what I know, though. It does take a few minutes to kind of get into like a rhythm. And the worst thing is you take 4 or 5 minutes, you finally are moving into a place where you've got a rhythm going, and then an email comes in, or you decide to go, that's when you're going to go get your coffee or whatever it is. And then you got to restart again and restart again. It's a very inefficient way. It's like driving a car. If you're constantly going to a stoplight and then stopping and putting on the brakes and then reaccelerating, you're going through gas way more. You're burning up way more energy doing that. The best thing you could do is kind of get on cruise control. And if you can get to a state where, hey, for the next 30 minutes or the next hour, or maybe you work up to 90 minutes, I'm going to work uninterrupted and then set a timer. After that, that's when I'm going to get up and do all the things I need to do, get my coffee, but work uninterrupted for a period of time, and it will change everything. I've honestly removed apps off of my phone permanently because I know that I can't be on my phone without checking that app. And it was killing productivity in pretty much every area of my life. So work uninterrupted. You are going to get so much more done. You'll get more done in a 30-minute session of uninterrupted work than you will sometimes in an hour or 2 hours where you're constantly being distracted or constantly shifting gears.
Yeah, agreed. To me, I am the worst about this because I'm full-time. Full-time, it's even worse because you feel like you have all this time in the world. And so you'll go list and then you're like, oh, I need a post on Instagram. Oh, somebody messaged me here. Somebody did this. And something that should only take you 30 minutes, you should be able to crank out getting your stuff listed, will take you hours. And there are days sometimes I just don't get listings done. All right. This next one to me has been the biggest help is prep everything maybe the night before, hours before you're going to list it. Because what ends up happening is, maybe you planned on listing at night when your kids go to bed and it's quiet. But then let's say you're doing shoes, right? When I used to do shoes, it was horrible. I find my death pile of shoes. They still have stickers on them. Some of them need cleaning. It's 9:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, do I really want to clean all this? And then I have to take pictures. And then I have to go sit down and I have to list these. Yeah, no, I'm not going to list them, or I'm only going to list a few. But if early in the day or the night before you had all of them prepped, they're ready to go, you just need to take pictures, you're more likely going to have those listings ready to go. And I need to tell myself this all the time. If you do a lot of different things like I do a lot of hard goods now. If I don't have those hard goods selected, I will spend 30, 45 minutes trying to figure out what I want to list. And nothing gets done. It's just not productive. So make sure that you have everything prepped and then do the photo process. Because imagine prepping every item before you took a picture. It's just not efficient.
Yeah, and that kind of moves into the next one, which is you want to take pictures and list similar items. So if you're brand new, you might not be able to do this. You're only getting 7 items from your day out of sourcing, and they're all different items. That's fine. You probably don't have a lot else going on reselling wise, so you can list those items. But when you've got a lot of items moving through your inventory that are coming in and going out, you need to be organized. And sometimes it's worthwhile to say, hey, I'm going to have a tote that I'm going to start filling up with shoes. And when it gets full, I'm going to list the shoes because I got another tote with tops like shirts and another tote with hard goods. And if you can kind of list and take pictures of similar items, it changes everything because it speeds you up. You're not having to change your photo setup. You're not having to change into a different photo booth potentially. You're not having to find, okay, where's the mannequin? I got the shirt. Okay, now where's the photo box? I got these shoes. Okay, now where's this? Because I need to... even listings are going to change too. If you're consistently listing shirts, hey, I need to have these measurements. So I'm going to make sure I take all of these measurements at once. Then I can list them all at once. It's going to speed up your listing if you list similar items instead of trying to just do one-offs. And I know it can be tempting, especially if you've got a lot of very profitable items. Maybe you want to always list like your 10 most profitable items that you have that day. And there may be a case to be made that that's what you should do. But a lot of times it's worthwhile to say, I'm just going to list all 30 pairs of shoes that I've collected over the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to list those today. Even if I've got an expensive item, I'll list that one tomorrow because that's a hard good. And, I'm still haven't finished prepping all the hard goods that I plan to list. So doing similar items is going to speed you up dramatically.
Yeah, agreed. And then last one, this is very basic, but a lot of sellers that are new don't do this. Use the sell similar function. And what I mean by this is sometimes, you're wondering what are the keywords, how much should I price it? Go on eBay, look for comps. I usually look for comps and I try to find the highest selling comp and I'll use their listing and do sell similar and I'll take all their keywords, all their item specifics. I look for the top rated too because I figured if somebody's a top rated seller, they're serious about what they're doing. They want to make sure their listings are well curated. So I'll do sell similar from top rated sellers. And, it saves you a ton of time. You don't have to worry about item specifics. The keywords you need are there. And, obviously it works for that person because they end up getting a good amount of money for the item. So it's one way to quickly list instead of creating a listing from scratch. And that's just so time consuming. And you have to do your own research. You have to figure things out. Doing sell similar will so efficiently allow you to do a lot of listings in a good amount of time. And so hopefully all these tips were helpful to you, all the way from just having designated space to working uninterrupted to prepping everything before and making sure to do everything that is similar together. And with that, doing similar items. So make sure you implement these to list faster. With that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling. Peace.